Gary Halbert is universally recognized as the greatest copywriter to ever have lived. And in this video, I am going to give you one piece of life-changing advice he taught me that's allowed me to write much better copy in half the time. And if you can focus for 10 minutes, you will also possess this copywriting superpower that will transform you into an unstoppable force capable of pumping out winners on winners. You're going to wake up and piss excellence. That is what we're doing here. But before we get to that, I know what you're thinking. Hang on, Sean. Gary Halbert died when you were like 10 years old, dude. Are you saying that you are Gary's long-lost son? No, I'm not Gary Halbert's son, but I am friends with copywriting powerhouse Ed Dale, who was personally trained in person by Gary Halbert. He worked with Gary directly and is one of the chief copywriters at Legacy Research, which is a subdivision of Agora, which does $1.5 billion a year selling $49 newsletters. Everything that you're about to learn was not only Gary Halbert's personal writing methodology, but also the same methodology used by the world's top A-list copywriters at Agora and other leading copywriting firms. Just to give you an indicator, these guys are bitterly disappointed if they don't make at least $5 million in a 90-minute webinar. That is the kind of big dogs I'm talking about here. So if you've ever felt like you're not gifted enough, not talented enough, not creative enough, not inspired enough, whatever, to be a top tier copywriter, I want you to take those beliefs, and just put them in the bin right there where they belong. Because here's the truth. There is an A-list copywriter inside you right now that is dying to burst out of you and show the world what you're capable of. You just need to release the brake and let him out. Or she, for the 3% of my audience that's female, I got you. Here's what I need you to understand. Good copy is a process. It is a learned skill that anyone can learn if they follow the right steps. The steps that I am about to give you. There are 3 key principles that I need you to keep in mind. The first is quantity over quality. Yes, I said that right. Quantity over quality. You may have heard the famous parable of the pottery class from the book Art and Fear. It's based on a 100% true story, and it goes like this. One day, a ceramics teacher announced on opening day that he was dividing the class into 2 groups. All those on the left side of the studio would be graded solely on the quantity of work that they produced. All those on the right solely on its quality. His procedure was simple. On the final day of the class, he would bring in his bathroom scales and weigh the work of the quantity group, 50 pounds of pots rated an A, 40 pounds a B, and so on. Those being graded on quality, however, needed to have produced only 1 pot, albeit a perfect pot, to get an A. Well, come grading time, and a curious fact emerged. The works of the highest quality were all produced on, can you guess which camp? If you guessed the quality camp, which produced 1 pot, you would be dead wrong. All 10 of the highest quality 10 pots were actually produced by the quantity group, whose only goal was to make a lot of pots, not even to make good pots. It seems that while the quantity group was busily churning out piles of work and learning from their mistakes, the quality group had sat theorizing about perfection and in the end had little more to show for their efforts than grandiose theories and a pile of dead clay. That right there is Gary's first big secret. Listen, I have paid tens of thousands of dollars to learn from some of the best advertisers in the world, hoping to learn some new magical ad hook or breakthrough copywriting framework that's gonna change everything. Every single time, I am literally just told to test more stuff. That's it. That is the big secret that all the top advertisers all have in common. I just saved you 100 grand in mentorships. Thank me later. You want to know how all the most successful advertisers in the world do it? Here's their big secret. They write 10 ads and test them at low budgets. 9 of them completely flop. 1 of them crushes it. They scrap the 9, they keep the one that works, scale it up, and then everyone thinks they're a genius. Okay, hopefully I've driven this point home hard enough. It is quantity that leads to quality. And speaking of pros, the second key principle I can give you that every pro copywriter I know does is to add constraints by working to a timer. Do yourself a favor, go to Amazon right now and order one of these bad boys right here. Old school analog countdown timer. There have been countless performance studies that have shown time and time again that productivity increases when time is being monitored. Simply working to a timer, even if it is a timer counting up and not down, just being consciously aware of how long you're spending on each activity will make you more productive. There we go. Just saved you an additional 10 grand in biohacking and productivity coaches. Thank me later. You might have also heard the famous study conducted on factory workers, where a third-party research firm came into a factory and announced to all the factory workers, hey, we're just here to monitor your performance for the week. Just ignore us, go about your business as usual. Don't change anything about the way you work. We're just here to watch. Would you guess what happened? Productivity absolutely skyrocketed in the factory. And guess what? The day the guys left, productivity went right back down to where it was before. As the great Peter Drucker says, what gets measured gets managed. If you're trying to lose weight, simply weighing yourself every morning and being aware of your weight will cause you to make different food choices throughout the day and thus ultimately end up losing weight because your brain doesn't want to wake up every morning and stacking L's by seeing a higher number on the scale. So how are you going to write better copy faster if you're not even tracking how long you're spending writing? Do you even know how long it takes you to write an email right now? If not, then how are you supposed to get faster? All right, so that is level 1, just timing yourself. But if you want to be a true boss, and I know you do, level 2 that all the pros do is to get yourself one of these bad boys, set it to 50 minutes before you start writing, and write in 50-minute blocks. 50, no breaks, no distractions. Why 50 minutes? Because that is the time that has been proven to be optimal by numerous performance studies. After 50 minutes, your productivity drops off a cliff. Set a timer for 50 minutes and write. That brings me to key principle number 3, is when you're done writing, stop and go do something else. Anything besides writing. There has never been a single revolutionary breakthrough that has ever occurred when someone was sitting at their laptop typing. It has never happened, ever. Why do you think all your best ideas happen when you're in the shower or out for a walk, or if you're anything like me, right as you're trying to fall asleep and you're like, really, motherfucker? Now you have to pop in with all these great ideas now that I'm trying to fall asleep? Really? Where were you all day? Like if you can relate. Well, the reason that this happens is because your brain has been focused on tasks all day. And for the first time in the shower, when it's not occupied, all of a sudden, all these ideas that it's been quietly chewing on in the background, poof, finally have room to express themselves. And they're like, here's how to cure cancer. Here's how to solve world hunger. Here's a super catchy melody for a Billboard Top 100 hit. Here's a crazy viral hook that will get you millions of views and make you millions of dollars. But if you're sitting behind a laptop all day, you're never going to give your brain the opportunity to release the genius that is sitting inside you. This is why when Gary was done writing, he would say, right, Ed, let's go. And they would get in the car and cruise around Miami Vice style for hours. And that is when all of his best ideas would come. So those are the 3 key principles. And without further ado, here is the battle-proven 3-step copywriting process used by the greatest direct response copywriter of all time, Gary Halbert. Step 1, stack. Step 2, vomit. And step 3, edit. Yes, I will explain these in a second. Don't worry, we're not going to be throwing anything up out of your mouth. Step 1, stack. The number 1 thing that stops new writers dead in their tracks is writer's block. Sitting there, watching a blinking cursor in Google Docs thinking, what the fuck do I write? Where do I even begin? Like if you can relate. Let me show you how to permanently end writer's block once and for all. It is a word that every copywriter has a love-hate relationship with: research. Before you roll your eyes at me, grab a pillow and tuck yourself in for a nap. No, this isn't the same generic research advice you've heard a million times, like read 1,000 Amazon reviews and spend 3 days reading Facebook comments. Yes, those things are still great. Yes, you should still do them. But what I have for you here is much more powerful. It is a simple 5-question framework that will change your research game forever. It is called the Lean Stack Switch Interview. And no, this wasn't created by me. It wasn't created by Gary Halbert either. It was created by a guy named Bob Moesta, and it is pure gold for market research. If you interview 7 of your top clients, very important, don't just pick random clients, pick the clients you want more of, not the whining Karens, and ask them these 5 questions. This is all the market research you will ever need to do to know your target avatar literally better than they know themselves. It's called the Lean Stack Switch Interview because it determines what specifically made someone switch from an alternative solution, including doing nothing, to your product or service. Ready? Here we go. Grab a pen and paper, write these down. Question 1. What was the inciting incident, or as I prefer to call it, the fuck it moment, where you decided, fuck it, I'm buying this today? Question 2. What was the specific outcome you wanted by buying this? What did you want it to do for you? Question 3. How were you trying to solve this problem before this? What were you doing? What were you putting up with? Question 4. So you got frustrated and you hit your fuck it moment. What were some of the features that a solution had to have in order for you to buy? And question 5. What was making you anxious about this purchase? What was causing friction? There we have it. The only 5 questions you need to learn, the actual reasons that people bought your product, so you can market to people's proven buying buttons rather than just pissing into the wind and guessing why they bought. And often, you'll be surprised at people's real motivations for buying things. For instance, did you know that one of the most common reasons people buy security cameras isn't to prevent burglaries, but actually to watch their pets? If you're a security camera company, don't you think it would be kind of important to know that? Hell, I have a friend who bought a new Mac last week, literally just because he likes the way it looks on his desk, better than his old one. So clearly, aesthetics are really important to him. Those are really important things to know if you're writing copy for a brand. And you only need to interview 7 or 8 people, no more. I promise. If you do this, or you have your client do this, you will know more about your market than any other copywriter or offer owner in your space, and you will dominate. So that's the Gary Halbert methodology. Step 1, the lean stack switch interview. Now we move on to step 2, vomit. And no, don't worry, there won't be any actual ejection of food matter from your esophagus. It's a metaphor. You've probably heard the famous quote, write drunk, edit sober, that is mistakenly attributed to Ernest Hemingway, who never actually said that because he would actually write in the morning, drink in the evening. So technically he was writing and editing both hungover, which just sounds fucking awful to me, but who am I to question his process? I'm not a global best-selling author like Ernest Hemingway. But there were many legendary authors, like Stephen King, for example, who did write bestsellers while drunk and high on mushrooms, and the essence of the message stands true, which is that when you let loose, magic flows. As legendary copywriter John Caples put it, everybody knows you can tame a wild horse and make the animal useful, but it is impossible to put life into a dead horse. The same is true of advertising copy. An advertisement that has been pounded out in the white heat of enthusiasm can be tamed and made effective, but it is impossible to put life into dead copy. Which brings me to Gary Halbert's approach. Vomit now, edit later. Gary had one rule when he wrote copy, and that was when you write, you are only to write and not edit. Put yourself in a distraction-free environment, grab your timer, set it for 50 minutes, put pen to paper, and do not stop writing until the timer goes off. The only rule is that you must keep writing. You are not allowed to stop to spell check anything, fact check anything, just keep writing. We're taught in school to edit as you write, and it is honestly probably the worst advice possible because you are constantly switching between your left logical brain and your right creative brain, which is horribly inefficient and completely kills your creativity because you have to keep breaking flow, and as we all know, flow is where the magic happens. Gary knew this better than anybody. In fact, he was so anal about it that one time when he was writing a golf ad, Ed actually caught him writing, "The golf putter is made out of the foreskin of a freshly killed albino baby seal." Ed saw it and he was like, "Dude, what the hell? No, it's not. And you can't say that." Gary looks at him calmly and says, "I know, but I don't know what it's made from. And there's no way I'm going to break my writing flow to go and research it." And if you take nothing else away from this video, please let it be this. Separate your writing from your editing. They use completely different sides of your brain, and editing as you write is not only killing your creativity and your copy, but it is making you take literally twice as long to write everything. And if the idea of writing without editing or filtering your thoughts scares you, it is because you, like me, like most people, are way too critical of yourself. You need to give yourself permission to suck. Sit down at your desk and just tell yourself, I am going to write a shitty, rough first draft. And that frame completely alleviates the pressure to produce anything good. And ironically, is what actually allows your best stuff to come out because you're not killing your best thoughts before they even have a chance to be thunk. There we go. New word for you. Now, if you're writing about a boring topic and you find it hard to actually get excited about it, just focus on the people that you're helping and the transformation they'll achieve, and that will get you a lot more excited. However you got to do it, if you just implement this one thing and be ruthless with yourself about it, you will halve your writing time and thus double your hourly rate. And super key, when the timer is up, stop writing. Take a break, go for a walk. If it is not done, come back, do another writing block with a timer. And if it is done, then it is time to move on to step 3, edit. Now, in a perfect world, you want the editing phase to be the next day, but if you got to get it done today, or maybe it's just something quick like an email, you just want to knock it out, take a quick break, come back refreshed. Now you can look at your copy with a critical eye. You can clean it up, you can cut out the fluff, you can sharpen it, you can make it hit harder, fact check it, spell check it, do all that, and polish it into your final draft. tame the beast, and polish it into your final draft. And that, my friend, is the Gary Halbert copywriting methodology, the exact writing process used by the best copywriters in history. But this video would not be complete without some action steps. Follow these steps, you will become a better copywriter, guaranteed. Step 1, go to Amazon, order yourself an old school analog countdown timer right now. The one I use is called the 3-inch time timer. There's a picture with a big red dial because red just makes me feel more urgency. Step 2 is before you write your next piece of copy, even if it is just an email, I don't care, do a 10-minute free flow writing exercise. There are only 2 rules for this exercise. One is you must use a pen and paper, not a laptop. And the second rule is that your pen is not allowed to stop moving. You can write about anything you want. If you want to sit there and write, Sean's an idiot, this sucks, this is a waste of time, you're welcome to. But you can't stop writing, not even for a second. A good prompt to get you started is, what do I know about my customer? Set a timer for 10 minutes and keep your pen moving the whole time. No filtering your thoughts, factual accuracy and spelling do not matter, grammar doesn't matter, you must write for 10 consecutive minutes. That is the only rule. Then, take a break, shake out your hand because that shit is gonna be sore. You probably haven't written that much since high school. Then, go write your copy for your project using the timer and come back here afterwards, let me know in the comments how much better your copy is. If you want to be a true pro, you should do this free flow writing exercise before every single writing session you do. That's what the pros do. But either way, promise me you will do this at least once within 24 hours of right now. Okay, winners don't wait, and you're a fucking winner, let's be honest. And the third and final action step for every piece of copy you write for the rest of your life, write it with a timer. Separate the writing process from the editing process and watch as you effortlessly spit out hard-hitting, high-converting copy in a fraction of the time that it used to take. And if you found this video valuable, make sure to dislike it so your competitors never find it, and subscribe for more no BS copywriting advice. And hey, if you want to turn your copywriting skills into an actual high-paying career, you might want to check out this free 40-minute training right here on YouTube that shows you exactly how to go from 0 to 10K a month copywriter step by step. These are the same 9 steps that have helped 71 of my students hit a 6-figure income in a matter of months, and I know you'll find it valuable too. Click here to watch it right now, and I'll see you over there.